Hello everyone, Mr. Wolf Recaps here. Today we are watching American science fiction action film called Surrogates. Relax and enjoy. In the futuristic world, the field of robotic science is highly developed. Humanity produces an artificial life form called a surrogate. Surrogates are realistic-looking robots that are connected to human brains. They are connected to the brain using a device that has more than 100 sensors. When a person sits on a chair-like device, these sensors are attached to different parts of the human brain. With this process, whatever the person thinks the surrogate is doing, officials describe it as controlling your other body through your brain. Surrogate inventor Lionel Cantor created it to help people with disabilities live life as normal human beings. However, only 3 years later it began to be used in wars to strengthen the army. As more devices are produced, they become cheap enough for the general public to buy. This event changes the course of human life. People start using their surrogates to go outside their homes, and eventually become completely dependent on it. Because of the surrogate, you can go out without having to physically leave the house, which minimizes the risk of accidents, robberies and diseases. What's more, you can look whatever you want without having to go through plastic surgery or exercise. The surrogate will be the new you and will interact with the people in your life while you control it from your home. Just 7 years after the invention, the largest surrogacy company named VSI released a statement stating that currently 98% of the world's population uses surrogates in various aspects of their lives. People live in almost complete isolation, rarely leaving the comfort of their homes. Their surrogates communicate with other people's surrogates, which has now become the fashion of life. Due to the use of surrogates, violent crimes, infectious diseases and discrimination have been reduced to record lows. However, not everyone likes this technology. There is a minority group that believes that humans should not live through machines. They have set up surrogate-free zones in various parts of the US and are led by a man widely known as the Prophet. It is now 14 years since the invention of the surrogate. The young man is on his way to the club. He lies to his dad on the phone saying he's going to the opera. In the club, he jumps off the balcony but lands safely, suggesting the guy is a surrogate. Meets a girl while dancing and takes her outside to see a man on a motorcycle and uses the device to kill them. When EMS and police arrived, they learned that the surrogate-type memory chip was completely fried, so they couldn't find its registered donor. However, the girl's surrogate was registered under the name Cameron McAllister. Two FBI agents named Tom Greer and Jennifer Peters find Cameron's address and pay her a visit. When they get to the house and learn that Cameron is actually a middle-aged man who was killed while sitting on his surrogate Lincoln device. This is the first homicide in years, so detectives are shocked. The scene cuts to the subway running. Tom comes home from work and we see that everyone around him is a surrogate. When he gets home he brings water for the real him, who looks completely different. The right time used his handsome and young surrogate to live his life for him. After placing the surrogate in his station, Tom leaves his room to meet his wife Maggie, but is greeted instead by Maggie's surrogate. Tom has not seen his wife for a long time and only talks to her surrogate. Tom suggests they go somewhere on vacation, but Maggie would rather send her surrogate on vacation and experience life through her somewhere else. Some teenagers find their friend Jared Cantor dead in his dorm room while still in his chair. At the FBI office, detectives discuss the case. They believe that whatever device was used to kill the surrogates also killed their owners. Until then, such a case was considered impossible, because the owners should not feel what the surrogates feel. They learn that Jared was the son of Dr. Lionel Cantor, the inventor of the surrogate. Tom and Jennifer make an appointment with Dr. Cantor and go to meet his surrogate. They realize that Cantor was using several surrogates at the same time, which is considered illegal. However, since he is the inventor, the detectives dismiss it. Jared was using one of Cantor's surrogates when he was killed. This leads detectives to believe the killer was after Cantor, not Jared. They then go to the headquarters of the largest surrogate company VSI to investigate, but are dismissed by the CEO, claiming that the surrogates are 100% safe for their owners. According to the camera footage embedded in Jared's surrogate when he was killed, they find a picture of the man who killed him. They go to a fellow named Bobby Saunders, who is the FBI computer system administrator. He guesses the Jared's killer's name is Miles Strickland. Bobby also has access to all the surrogates in the US and can shut them down at any time after finding Miles is the location of Tom and his colleague who pursue him in a helicopter. However, as they prepare to get him by Miles, all the detectives with guns kill both the surrogates and the operator. He also harms the real Tom and kills his friend. Their helicopter crashed in a restricted area filled with anti-surrogates. Before Tom can catch the killer, his surrogate is killed by the anti-surrogates. The real Tom was injured because of the gun. He leaves his room and faints. We then see Miles meet with the leader of the anti-surrogates, the prophet, who asks him what he said. Miles insists he didn't reveal any information, but the prophet is killing him anyway. Tom wakes up in the hospital to learn that he has been suspended for a week for landing in a restricted area. However, he is determined to solve the case, so for the first time in years he goes outside without a surrogate. He then goes to the Forbidden Zone to meet again at the Miles, but comes across his body being cremated. Tom asks the prophet about the miles of weapons that were used before, but he claims he's never seen one. The profiteers realize that he is a policeman and beat him up. Tom leaves the restricted zone when a young man offers him a ride home. The man turned out to be Cantor's surrogate. Asking Tom about Gerald's murder case, the Cantor advises Tom to focus on the gun and where it came from. When an injured Tom arrives home, he sees Maggie and her young friends hanging out in the living room. Maggie gets nervous when she sees him, but he doesn't confront her. Later, Tom sees her talking to a man and beats him up, but the man is a surrogate so he doesn't mind. In the next scene, we see a man break into Jennifer's house and kill her right after taking control of her surrogate. The next day, Tom visits an army general and asks him about the weapon. The general informs him that the weapon is called an overload device. It was made as a weapon of war to embed surrogates with a software virus. However, officials did not know that the virus would also kill the operators. After they realized it, the arms manufacturer has ceased. VSI was a weapons manufacturer and they destroyed every unit of it. However, this one weapon was left out. In exchange for information, Tom tells them that the restricted area has weapons. We then see the prophet handing over the weapon to his men to be delivered to the surrogate Jennifer. Tom then goes to Maggie's work and asks her if she misses their son. It turns out that the two lost their son in a car accident and Maggie hasn't been able to recover since. We get a glimpse of her true self, which is old and wrinkled. In stark contrast to her surrogate, she and Tom are still grieving the loss of their child. Elsewhere, an army attacks the prophet and his men to get their weapons back. However, when they shoot the prophet, who is the leader of the anti-surrogates, they find out that he is also a surrogate. The scene goes back to Dr. Cantor on his computer following the person in front of the prophet. We learn that Cantor is the one who posed as a prophet to stop the use of his own invention. Tom meets Jennifer's surrogate, who is now controlled by Cantor. She tells Tom that the VSI and their boss Andy Stone killed Cantor's son. They realize that Cantor was trying to stop the use of surrogates, which would cause VSI a huge loss. Therefore, they, together with the Stone, plan to kill Cantor with weapons. However, they mistakenly killed his son. Carter could not bear the thought of his son dying and made it his mission to kill all humans using surrogates. However, it needs a weapon and coding to make it work. Jennifer already has a gun. She tells Tom that the Stone was involved in Jared's murder and asks him to bring her the computer file Stones as proof. Tom goes to meet Stone and knocks him out. He then downloads everything from the Stone's computer and rushes out. Now that Jennifer finally has the weapon and the code, she must go to Bobby to cause the virus through the weapon to every surrogate in the world. Tom realizes that Jennifer's surrogate has been taken. But just then they have an accident. Jennifer runs to Bobby, while Tom rushes to the root of the problem, the Cantor. Jennifer holds Bobby at gunpoint and injects a virus into the system. In a few minutes, everyone with the surrogate will die. Just then Tom arrives at the Cantor's mansion and asks him why he is doing all this. Cantor replies that he made surrogates to help the handicapped, not for everyone to depend on. Now that his son is dead, he doesn't want to let his death go in vain and wants to end the surrogate addiction. After explaining his reasons, the cancer takes the pill and kills itself. Tom takes over as Jennifer's surrogate and asks Bobby how he can stop the virus from spreading. Bobby quickly tells him the codes and successfully rescues the operator surrogates. Now Tom has to click yes to save all surrogates. He hesitates. As Bobby tells him, they only have seconds left. It finally doesn't push to disable all surrogates in the world. We see hundreds of surrogates stop working on the street. Soon their owners are out of their home for the first time in years. Tom rushes back to his home to find that the real Maggie is not in her room. He finds her in their son's bedroom and the film ends as they embrace. I hope you enjoyed the short preview of the film and be sure to watch it. You might like the film. Greetings.